Hi there, today I'm going to take you through a real-life rebrand case study for one of my recent clients. They're called Happy Feet Boutique and they sell children's shoes as well as branching out into some children's clothing. Hi there, I'm Vardeep Edwards and I run the Branding Fox where I help women in business with branding and design. So this rebrand case study that I'm going to share with you today was worked on in collaboration with two other businesses. And they were the Sussex Social, who helped with the marketing side of things, and AB Web Design, who helped with the website design. I'm going to take you through all the stages that I would work through for a brand identity job like this. And it starts with the foundation and strategy and getting that in place first before you start working on any visuals. So we kicked off with a video call. And in this, we establish and work out what their brand needs to be and who they need to be as a brand, who their target audience is, what the competitive landscape is looking like, and where some of those gaps are and unmet needs for their particular customer. I also wanted to look at what was working and wasn't working for them in their existing brand and visual identity. So we talked quite a lot about their why in their business, why they'd started, what led them to set up this business, what they're aiming for, so what their vision is for this business, where they want to take it, what their values might be, who they really want to work with, who they really want as their ideal customers, who their competition is, how they think they're different from their competition. Also, what's important to them when running their business and working in their industry? What is it that really sort of drives them and motivates them? So once we'd gone through this process, I go away and I do my own research and formulate a rough draft of what that particular brand foundation could be and that strategy to get that in place and hone in on what those values is, what their purpose is, their mission, who their ideal client is, who their competitors are, and position them in place that market for their particular brand. And one of the main things that really surfaced throughout all this work and research was that sustainability and being eco-friendly was really important to their target audience. I discovered through our video call that they would take on board recycling any old shoe boxes for their customers. They would be mindful of the manufacturers that they would be choosing to even import their shoes and the packaging for that, and also the types of brands that they want to be associated with. And when we looked at their current visual identity and logo, it didn't quite reflect this aspect. And then, as well as comparing themselves to their competitors, we could see that this was an unmet need in the gap in their particular market, in their industry, within their demographic that they're reaching out to. So this became a good USP for them and became the driving force behind who they needed to be as a brand to attract that particular type of audience and then help to direct their visual identity. So after we'd established this as their brand foundation, I'd worked everything up as their brand guide, and then I was hired to do their visual identity and a logo redesign. Initially, they weren't sure about having a redesign for their logo because of the cost implications. They had two shops and it would necessitate whole new shop signs, and as well as rebranding across every other marketing material that they have got. But after highlighting that point of difference that they really needed to draw in on and stand out from their competitors, it was almost a no-brainer to say, yes, well, you need to have your logo redesigned and your visuals to be looked at to match that impression that you want to make for your client base. The challenge was that they had recently had the interiors of their stores refitted with new colours and look and feel. So luckily, that was a bit more in line with where the business needed to be and what they needed to look like. But we needed to be mindful of that when redesigning their logo and visual identity to make sure it didn't look incongruent with what they already had. So after looking at what their potential brand could look like, we agreed on values about being ethical, about being sustainable, about being eco-friendly. We defined their brand personality, so we knew how to focus their particular brand in terms of those key attributes, and that helped to direct a particular visual style that was going to match that and bring it to life through their imagery, colours and fonts. So then the next stage was to look at some initial logo ideas. And there's, with every kind of brand identities, there's different directions that you could take those logo designs, and how far you can push some of those attributes and values. So that's where more than one concept at the moment that I've been working with kind of helps and ties in with that. And the sketches and the visuals at this stage was to explore how far to push it and what really fitted with how they saw themselves moving forward. So after I presented the initial logo sketches and ideas, what I ask all my clients to do is to go away and have a think about it, sleep on it, ask people for feedback, and in particular, ask their target audience for feedback and be really specific with a couple of key questions that will help them really understand whether their new visual logo is resonating or would resonate and could work for them moving forward. So after I received feedback from the client, there was one clear winner, and then it's a case of developing that particular logo design, refining it, making sure the space around the logo is going to work, that it's going to work in different lockups and different formats for different media, if it's going to work in any other colours, looked at refining the colours and making sure that they are going to work with the colours in store as well as throughout their website, and look at that relationship within the different colours as well in terms of how much to use of each colours, what's going to be the dominant colours that are going to be used, where are those colours going to be used, and to make sure that I've got the adjustments for when converting those colours into a web format. Alongside this, I look at font choices and how many fonts they need for the particular type of content and information that it will be used for. And all of these need to tie together. So the whole time when I was choosing the colours and the fonts and the style of imagery and the style of that logo needs to tie back into that brand strategy and that foundation and really make sense with the values, the purpose, the USP and their brand attributes, so that every time they put out a piece of marketing or a piece of design, somebody looks at their website, somebody looks at their social media, everything is saying the same thing and is having the same type of associations in their audience's minds. So that's a brief outline of my process. It can be quite in-depth. There's no kind of one linear route. There is a framework that I work with that I work through with my clients, and it ends up being a process rather than a quick fix or let's find a solution straight away. It is a process. It's a journey that you kind of need to work through to get the clarity, to understand what you're about and what you're really going to hone in and pull out as your key differentiating points, which is then what you become memorable for. It helps you stand out from your competition, and it helps to just focus your brand so you're not picking and choosing different kinds of values or attributes or visual look and feels from different sorts of places. So everything becomes more streamlined and focused and has a clear image and representation of what your business is and what it's about. So I hope that's been helpful for you and gives you some insight into how I work with my clients and why. I've worked with various clients over the years in all sorts of capacities in terms of graphic design jobs, as well as branding and logo designs. And I've now come to a point where I know what is going to work and give my clients the best outcome. And it is starting with the brand strategy first and aligning that with their business strategy, marketing strategy, and their visual identity. If you've got any questions, feel free to email me at vardeep@thebrandingfox.com. You can see more of my work at thebrandingfox.com. And if you've got any comments or feedback, I'd love to hear from you. Thank you.